Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Monday night pop-up show. Pop-up. You know the crew. You see the guys. I'm your host, Berto, your host of the 95 North Sports Machine. Smitty, 11K. You got to change that. And Chris Tipmore joining me. We have a very special guest with Brycey 2K. Brycey, Mr. Bryce Lewis, how are you this evening, sir?
I'm good, man. Glad to be back talking about everything that's been going on with the team recently. A lot of big moves happening out here.
Yes, sir. That's a fact, man. Folks, man, I'm gonna say this, so you fellas on the panel, stop me, and stop me if you would, man. But man, the Falcons are popping, and it's strange to hear that. We're in the news for all the positive, none of the negative. It seems that the negative has kind of dwindled away, right? Dwindle, I mean, with the injuries kind of in the past, and then we bring these two highly decorated players onto the ball club. So with those moves, which we'll talk on in a few minutes, but just your overall sense on how crazy this week has been for these Atlanta Falcons, just being in the news, period. I'll kick it off with you, Brycey, man. How you feeling about our Falcons with the moves that they recently just made, man?
I'm feeling pretty good. They made some big moves, some moves to help shore up some maybe some weaknesses that you would perceive on this team. Obviously, a pass rusher getting Matt Judon was big. Obviously, if he's able to get back to where he was coming off his injury, I mean, he was one of the most I feel like underrated pass rushers, just because New England has been great the last couple of years, but he's still been really good for them. Double-digit sack season before last year, so really excited about him. And then now we have Simmons on the team with Bates. I've said probably the best safety duo, I would say, in the league. One of the smartest safety duos in the league as well. So I'm really excited to kind of see how Jimmy Lake and Raheem kind of use them within the defense, and how that also affects Richie Grant and what he does. So, I mean, overall, man, I think coming into the season, everybody, I think, knew the offense was going to be good. I think everybody was just wondering about the defense, and now I think people are feeling much better about the defense, which I am as well. And it feels like, okay, I know that we were projected to win the NFC South, and I know that people expected this to be a good year just because of just where we are. But I think now some people are like, all right, we make the postseason, could make a run. So, because obviously anything can happen when you get there. Anything can happen. And we got to see how the season goes. Teams that we think are going to be great might not be great. They could have severe injuries, and then we'll have to see how all that plays out.
Right, you got to say it with your chest, man. You got to say,
I'm talking about
we'll make a run.
Get a joke out, bro. Stop playing.
Oh man. Chris, anything you want to add, Chris?
First and foremost,
before we get to Chris, man, let's get a chat a shout out right quick.
Let's do that.
Oh yeah. Please, indeed, because the chat is actually popping.
Let's do it, man. Thank you to everybody that is joining the stream tonight. We got our brother Dwayne Ruffin from sunny SoCal. He's in the building. He says, "Let's get it." J Cup is in the house. Breeze 1500 ATL Rise Up is in here. The Birdcage LLC, Ryan the Historian and Company. Please go out and search the Birdcage LLC on YouTube. Great Falcons platform, great knowledge. Ryan,
and I had my chicken when he said it.
Oh man, will not disappoint. That man is the historian for great reason. Justin Swisher Sweets is in the house. Jared Talks is in the building. Jared Talks, I think he has a YouTube channel, if I'm not mistaken, right, Smitty? I know somebody here.
I believe so.
Right, man. I believe so, right? So make sure, please, you go out and you search out Jared Talks on YouTube and hit him with that subscribe, man. Tell them the boys at 95 North Sports Machine sent you, Mr. Wait, hold on. What else we have? The Birdcage.
One of my biggest followers, man, Miss Charlene Samuels, man. What's good?
Miss Charlene Samuels in the house. Thank you for joining us. Tails by G is in the house. Clark Phillips, quarterback too. I've seen enough. We're going to touch on that in a few minutes. Wrestling God himself, C Double, is in the house. The other wrestling star
this weekend, man.
Yeah, good times, man.
Good times.
The other wrestling god, Ladarius Brown, is in the house, man. Ed Mitchell's in the building. Our brother Shaka Zulu is in the house. What's going on with it?
Hey, Shaka, I didn't get my package this week, man, so I'm waiting.
Leave that man alone, man. Henry Trout is in the house. Michelle McCorkle, if I'm saying that correctly. What up, guys? How you doing? Thank you for joining the stream. Our brother Anthony Savigny's in the house. He says, yo, What's good, Berto? Ain't heard from you in a minute. What's good, Smitty and Chris? I just been working a lot behind the scenes, brother. That's all, man. But all is good.
Berto
Glad to
putting
be
in
back
work at
on.
Bleacher Report, man, doing his thing.
That's it.
Y'all
Absolutely,
please
man.
go
That's
check him
it.
out. Please check him out.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. And I also been filling in for you, Smitty, on the Roundtable NFC South Round
Right.
Talk table. That is
Right.
another
Man.
up and coming channel that is taking off, man. So please join us
I
Tuesday
will be on it
at 7 o'clock.
tomorrow.
Yes,
I will be
sir.
on tomorrow at 7
Check it
o'clock.
out.
Sure.
Y'all got to tune in because I got to represent them dirty birds.
You know
Yes,
it, man.
sir.
Third party action is in the house as well. Thank you, everybody that's joining us on the stream.
Before we
mentioned.
move
Go ahead,
on, I
Smitty.
got one more thing to say.
Go ahead, bro.
Here. Shout out to my boy Antonio Henderson,
Oh,
man. We got to keep him lifted
Antonio.
up in prayer, man. He lost 2 aunts in the same week. So
Man.
please send out a prayer for him. Let him know we got his back, man. Like I said by Miss ooh, man. I mean, it's tough because man, Antonio, I know the feeling, man, and you know, losing a loved one is tough. So we riding with you, man. We family and we got your back. So we gonna pray for you. And like I said, man, everybody, you know, pray for Tonio. Put them prayers up in the chat and let him know we with him because it's not easy, man. Because trust me, been there, done that.
Definitely,
Right,
man.
right.
Definitely, man.
Definitely.
Man, so many people in the house tonight, man. Wow.
Yeah,
Nice, man. That's a lot of people, man. But let's get to it. Thank you to everybody that's joining us. Oh, hold up. Our brothers at Atlanta Falcon Mine are in the house. John and Mike always doing their thing, man. Those are my guys, man. Thank you for joining the stream this evening, man. Awesome. So, yeah. So, let's see.
I'm about to say real quick, man.
Go ahead, bro.
I'm about to say real quick, man. Just want to throw it out there, man, about Campbell Middle School in Smyrna, Georgia, man. They got a fundraiser right now, partnership going on with the Atlanta Falcons. I've already mentioned this once before. We're getting closer to the final preseason game between the Jaguars and the Falcons. Want to mention it again. They have a fundraiser to where they have tickets for sale, $15 for the lower level, $10 for the upper level. Go out. It's you can go to my Twitter page, type in A1 Forever, you'll see me. And go to the Twitter page. It's pinned to my Twitter page. Go ahead, get you some tickets. I know. Shout out to some of the content creators like Berto, who decided to donate his to a family in need, and that's that's just the type of guy Berto is, And shout out to Pound for Pound. I know he also donated to just a couple of content creators that I know for a fact have already donated to the cause. And I get absolutely nothing from it. It was just, hey, it's dealing with the Falcons, dealing with some fundraising, helping with the kids out, helping them get some football equipment. So that's what it's all about, helping each other out. And that's just what it is. Like I said, again, you can go to my Twitter page. The link is on my Twitter page, pinned to the top. Go ahead, get you some Falcon tickets. Come out, represent those Dirty Birds in our only home preseason game this season. Before the season starts, man. Just go ahead and do that. Definitely want to.
That's what it's about, man. It's about the kids, man. The kids are our future, and that ain't gonna never change, man. We got to set an example for things to change, for our kids to have a chance at a positive future, and get these programs back up and running. Because when we were coming up, man, we had programs to keep us out of trouble. And these kids these days, they don't have that. So we got to take every initiative to make things positive in the community for these kids to have a future. So just trust me on that. 100%. But Daniel Matthews, man, since Chris was talking, man, Chris, you go ahead and answer that question, man.
Said just on here, but do y'all think we need to make another move like a wide receiver or a corner? To be honest, I think that we're not going to make any more moves. I don't see us making any more moves. I really think that we made the splashes that we need, fill some of the most important holes, like of course, a pass rusher. That was a blatant hole that just that need to be filled, and then you also went in shored up the back end. So now, just like I had put out there, man, go check out on my channel A1 Forever. That so I put out a video about Jesse Bates and Justin Simmons and how they can help the Atlanta Falcons. So definitely go check out that video. But just like I was saying in it, man, you definitely have the back end, and you're going to have the linebackers, the corners, the defensive linemen. They're going to just be able to just react. They don't even got to think about it because they got two ball hawks in the back who just have the IQ just off the charts. They're known for the football IQ, the playmaking abilities and also the versatility, because both can play free and strong. So it's
Right.
almost like they're interchangeable, man. It's beautiful for the Atlanta Falcons. It's a wonderful time to be a Falcon fan, just like I also seen Miss Lisa say in the chat, because it's true. And their impact on defense, so their playmaking ability is just going to soar. And then we got Matthew Judon, man. Again, it's 66.5 sacks, man, ranked 19th amongst active pass rushers right now. And he's going to definitely draw double teams. But who do you double team? Amanyata, Grady, Judon? Oh man, that's for somebody else to figure out, not me.
We can keep going. We can keep going all day.
Indeed,
but if y'all go to Sports Machine, man, I put on a cornerback. Y'all remember I put out a video a couple of years ago about D. Alford, and he's still on the team. I think Natron Brooks could be that next GM. The Falcons have found at the cornerback position. So 13 tackles last week against Baltimore. That's a kid to keep an eye out for. He may be a special teams guy, but as long as they keep him on the roster, especially on the practice squad, at least the practice squad. So
he's a thumper, though, man. You seen how he was going after those guys? Fearless, man. I love players.
He's only 175 pounds.
But I liked him last off season, though. I just knew it wasn't enough positions for him, but I liked him last year.
Right.
100%, man. Antonio Henderson with the $9.99 donation to the platform. We thank you so much, and please, you don't have to, thank us about that, man. It goes without saying, family. Prayers for you, man. We're all family, man. So we're all grieving with you just as much, man. But he says, just because you guys showing my family love the show and ready to put our foot on some next this year, let's fucking go. That's what I like to hear, man. And exactly this, these moves that the Falcons have made recently, man, really has the whole, just everybody in Atlanta raving, right? We haven't had, such gains as far as the free agency ever since the 2015, 2016. If you guys remember, Alex Mack, Mohamed Sanu, and we all know what those moves did for us. So in these moves right here, of course, with Matthew Judon and Justin Simmons, that small chatter is coming up, is coming about. Are these Falcons a dark horse contender in the NFC to make it out of the NFC for the Super Bowl? So I feel the NFC, 100%. I really feel like it is. And if you go up and down the conferences and you look at you look at the conference in its whole, there's a lot of teams that have turmoil, some drama within that really is going to trickle into the season and affect on how those teams play. You look at the NFC East and Dallas situation with Dak and CeeDee Lamb. We don't know what's going on with them. We don't know how they're going to show up week one. You talk about Daniel Jones and the New York Giants and what they're going through.
Oh my God.
That's another situation right there in itself, man. You look up north, it's pretty much, it's a brand new era. Jordan Love, Caleb Williams, Jared Goff, of course, the mainstay there. But the Minnesota Vikings are in a flux. They just lost their rookie quarterback. You go out west, and Kyler Murray returns. How is he going to connect with Marvin Harrison Jr.? Are the Rams still going to be what they are? The 49ers, they got a brand new coordinator going into town over there on the defense, of course, and there's room for error there in that regard. So that leaves the NFC South possibly, up for the grabs for the Falcons, like it's predicted, and how I agree with most people. But the conference itself, so why not the Atlanta Falcons? Damn it! So, but I'll leave it to you guys and let me know what you guys feel about that. So, Bryce, what are your thoughts on that, right quick, man?
It makes sense. You look at the NFC South right now. What team really scares you? The biggest wild card in the division is Tampa Bay. We have no idea what Tampa Bay is going to be. They have won the division the last 3 years, so we have to give them respect. They've won it the last 3 years. And they still got, Mike Evans. They still, if Baker can be similar to what he was last year, that's going to be still a good thing for them. They still have some good players on defense and things of that nature. They just have to see how, obviously, bringing in a new OC and all that works out. But, that's a team that, you can't just think this is going to be a cakewalk for them. I know some people think the Saints may be the worst team in the league. I'm not going to say that, even though we want that to be the case. I'm sure we'd love that to be the case. Yeah. But I'm not going to say that yet. It feels like the Saints should have been worse for the last couple of years than they've been, and they've been more competitive. So, and then the Panthers, they made a lot of additions this offseason to try to build around Bryce Young. If Bryce Young takes a step, they could be more competitive this year. So it may be a division where we may call it the weakest division in football right now, which is for the taking for the Atlanta Falcons. But the Falcons still have to take each game seriously. If you win all 6 of your division games, you already got 6 wins. You're 4 away from 10, 3 away from a winning season. So obviously that will put you in a really good position once you get, obviously, when you talk about the other teams you play, AFC, NFC, outside of your own division. But I think, like I said, it's set up for the Falcons to be really good. Once you get past, especially that first stretch, the first 3 games of the season, if you're able to come out of that looking good and no major injuries, or maybe 2-1 or 3-0, if that happened, you would feel pretty good about how this season would eventually end to turn up, as long as the team can stay healthy as the season goes on. And obviously we get a good number of primetime games this year too, so things end up working out as well. Falcons will be showing the country what we can do, and why that they're needed to be taken seriously, and why they could be a Super Bowl contender in the NFC.
Let's talk
facts,
about
facts.
Wonderful.
Shout out
He
to
said
Mama
that
Torres
was
before we keep going. Shout out to Mama Torres. As her
mom.
mother.
Yes.
Big
I love
fan
you,
of the
Mom.
show, man.
Always.
She's always supporting us. So shout out to
Always,
Mama
man.
Torres.
Yes, sir.
I agree with both of y'all, man. I've been saying it. The NFC East is it's in turmoil right now. Y'all didn't even throw in that Philly, the team we played early on. I think last year they gave up on the coach, and for some reason they brought him back. But that and AJ Brown cutting the food, it's gonna be a distraction up there this year. And I don't really expect Sirianni to make it through the year. Could be wrong, just my opinion. But in the NFC South, I agree. You got to give Tampa their respect because they won the division the last 3 years. That's hard to do in the NFC South because if y'all remember early in the 2000s, somebody different won division every year.
Yeah,
so
every year.
For them to do it 3 years in a row, that's remarkable. But I think the Falcons are in a great spot to where they can be that next team to run off 3 in a row. So in the NFC, the only 2 teams that really scare me are the 2 teams that were in the NFC Championship last year. That's Detroit and San Francisco. And as I told y'all before, I just think I would trust Atlanta over both of those. Why? Because of the quarterback position. You saw Jared Goff break down the second half of that game. And I would take Kirk Cousins over Brock Purdy as well, because if he gets deep into the playoffs, guess what? Well, you saw it in the Super Bowl. I ain't even got to say more. But both of those guys, they faltered down the stretch. And I think Kirk Cousins can be that one to take us over the top over both of those guys. So, yeah, I think that we are the cream of the crop, top 3 in the NFC right now.
Well, check this out, Smitty. I respect you and Bryce to the utmost, but I ain't going to be so nice. I ain't going to lie. Yeah, they won the division the past few years. We're talking about the Tampa Bay Bucks. But I ain't going to lie. We didn't have the offense or the quarterback that we did now, not even the defense with these pieces that we do now. Last year, if we had a competent quarterback, we sweep the Bucks, okay? Last year, if the offense was able to move the ball and the defense was not so tired, we sweep the Bucks. We don't lose that game in the Carolinas. We don't even have so much of a close game with the Jets. I can go back to that Cardinals game. I can go back to that Tennessee game. I'm just saying, guys, I just feel like, we do have maybe like a tougher schedule. Maybe teams are supposed to be better. But at the end of the day, we were right there with less. We have more. It makes no sense to continue to think just because these guys are bringing back, pieces. And don't get me wrong, camaraderie and chemistry is very underrated in sports. So that's what I feel like is going to give Tampa an edge to stay competitive. And probably, I guess you can say the Saints with having some of the same pieces. But guys, we had less last year. Okay, we had less last year. And I'm going to at least say playoffs without a shadow of a doubt, as long as we execute, as long as Kurt is who he's supposed to be, as long as everybody is clicking on cylinders. I'm not saying that we may or may not have a slow start. That's up to the offense. Yeah, man, that's up to the offense, man. I'm rapid fire right now, man. But that's up to the offense on what they do and the coaching staff. But at the end of the day, I'm sorry, man. I'm just seeing what I'm seeing in the year that we had last year and how close we were. I have Why should I feel like I should give the utmost respect to the Tampa Bay Bucks when we should have swept them last year? We have more, guys. We should sweep that ass this year. Just being honest.
Yeah, man. Hey, man. Say it with your chest, Chris. Like, that's all.
Honest, I'm not gonna be so nice. I'm bullying folks this year. I ain't being nice. I'm farming folks right in the damn face.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not getting your behind out of jail. I'm just saying it right now. I ain't got no bail money.
Come on, man.
Oh, man. Hey, so we're talking being bullies and things of that nature. You know, one benefactor in this whole situation with the Atlanta Falcons acquiring all of this is first-year defensive coordinator Jimmy Lake. I feel like he's the ultimate winner in this because if you look back at what he had before the Matt Judon Justin Simmons trade, it wasn't as inspiring on defense. Sure, we had some good pieces on defense, but was it going to be enough to keep up to some of the numbers that first-year defensive coordinator Ryan Nielsen had us up with last year? 11th ranked overall defense. Finished fourth in third down conversion, finished third in red zone defense. This now allows the Falcons to uphold some of those numbers from last year. So, folks in the chat, you guys on the panel, man, Jimmy Lake being the overall winner in this. Your thoughts on that, right quick, please. Start with Bryce.
I agree with it wholeheartedly. Okay. I think he's going to benefit more than anybody, but again, he has great backup. He has Jerry Gray. He has Raheem Morris. So he was put in the position, to learn to call plays at the pro level. It's going to give him time to grow as a coach, and he's going to have time to learn up under both of those guys, which is probably going to make him one of the top defensive minds in the league. Because the more you learn and the more you grasp and pull in, it makes you great as a coach. And he's learned a lot in the film room, and he's learned a lot from these veterans on this team. So, he's going to benefit a whole lot.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I would think the same thing. I mean, obviously, if you see how the coaching staffs and all the way this team has been built, they always have support at every position. And, we had a first-year defensive coordinator last year, Ryan Nielsen, and that ended up working out. So now they're hoping to get that second year in a row, first-year guy coming back, obviously familiar with some of the players already, has been on many coaching staffs in the league already. Obviously, Raheem trusts him a lot to bring him in to make him defensive coordinator. Raheem mentioned it also when he was talking to Kay Adams, who was in Valley Branch for today's practice today, about he's calling the plays, but at the same time, it's a plan. We're going to be working on it together. We're going to be discussing what we want to do, how we want to use guys together. So I think it puts Jimmy Lake in a good position to be successful. And knowing that you have a lot of talent. So that you can use, because sometimes you sometimes can say if you don't have the talent, it's hard to sometimes be able to do certain things you want to do, or you have to play defense a certain way. Maybe the defensive coordinator can't play the game or play the type of defense that you would like to see the defense play. But it feels like with the talent they're accumulating, they're going to be able to do that, and they're going to be able to do different things. Like they said, they're trying to figure out what they're going to do with Richie Grant. That's something that we'll see how that develops as the season goes on. But if Richie Grant ends up playing a different role that ends up being beneficial for him, Jimmy Lake is a big part of that reason of why that happened. Them trying to figure out how to best use guys. Pass rush packages, different things, different rotating guys. They're having to rotate Troy, Nate, between each other right next to Caden Ellis. There's a lot of decisions they got to make that Jimmy Lake has to make on this team, but it's a good problem to have because you feel like you have quality in spots that you have to make these decisions at, and you can kind of just feel it and see how it goes, because you really won't really know till you get into the season. And really that first month of the season is when you're going to be like, all right, now we can kind of see, okay, we used them here. This worked. This didn't work. Let's change this. Maybe we need to give this person more snaps in these situations. Maybe we're playing this team. Let's do this. And that's something that, as a good coach and a good defensive coordinator, especially him growing in that spot, if he's able to make those adjustments as the season goes on, that will only help the Atlanta Falcons defense improve each and every game. And then you may see, again, this team was a top 15 defense last year with the same issues that we had coming into the offseason. Lack of pass rush, question at number 2 corner, Richie Grant not having a good year. And they were a top 15 defense. A lot of people felt like the defense was going to fall off just because they just felt like it was going to fall off. And now we got some guys who we know can play. Two an elite pass rusher and elite safety. So now you got the talent. Now what can this defense be?
I love to hear that. Yeah,
I agree.
That's a
We put it
very, very true. And go ahead, Smitty.
Go. No, you got it. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and you spoke about depth, and right along the defensive line, man, we saw, we saw something great this past weekend against the Baltimore Ravens, which was a second round pick, Rook Oro, collect his first sack or gain his first sack
Yes,
in the
sir.
NFL on a very impressive move on a would-be blocker by the Baltimore Ravens. And that's inspiring. And Grady Jarrett was quoted today as saying that's his little brother. And hopefully this maturation between Grady and Rook can come to life and strengthen even more throughout the season. How many times in the past have the Falcons failed to fill the position? Countless of times. You can go back to the years of we brought in Tyson Jackson and Paul Soliai. You could talk about Rashid Hageman. You could talk about Marlon Davidson, Tyler
No,
Davidson.
God, let's
Oh
not.
my God,
Just
John
don't,
Terry. Oh,
just don't
Yeah,
say it right.
let's not.
I gotta bring the names up because they're all failures in a way. We never did have a steady understudy behind Grady Jarrett. And what better way now, as the Falcons did, addressing that in the draft, going back to back on defensive line in this year, knowing the bigger picture that Grady and David, they won't last forever, unfortunately. You know what I mean? We all wish that they could play at a high level for all time, but there are, unfortunately, they will dip at some point. Hopefully not in the Falcons uniform. I'll just put it out like that. And it's a business, so we all got to accept that. But I love what we saw out of Rook this past weekend. But I gotta highlight another thing, and it's the cornerback play. Bryce, so you just touched on it. See the same problems, revolving door at cornerback number 2.
Mm-hmm.
So, you talk Jeff Okudah to start the year, and we ended up leaving off the year with Clark Phillips as our starter.
Mm-hmm.
This year, we have that same issue, but it just feels like this room is a lot talented than most would give credit for. It was presumed to be a weak spot on this Falcons defense. Could underlyingly be the strength of it all. The secondary, yes, but at the cornerback position, we saw a guy who played out of his mind this past week. You talk about fire under his ass. His ass was on fire and playing like he was on it. And that's Natron Brooks, man. Second-year corner for these Falcons, a 5'11" statured cornerback. Smitty, you put out a tremendous video on him, I believe, not too long ago. But if you can, give us a little bit on Natron Brooks and what he means to this Falcons defense.
I think he's going to mean a lot, man. And as I said on the video, not only will he contribute on special teams, the way he's, reading the field, I think he could sneak in some playing time. And that's going to be bad for a couple of veterans. But if you can find a way to keep this guy around, I think the way he plays the game, and he says the small man syndrome, and I get it because I'm a small dude, so I know. But 5'11", 175 pounds, most of the time you can't even make league as a wide receiver at that size. And to see him go out and get 13 tackles, that's very astonishing. And that's very promising to a guy that had to come through as an undrafted free agent out of Southern Mississippi. I think he makes the team, man. I think that performance at least gets him on the practice squad.
Right. He's hungry, guys. And again, he's I feel like he's a better player than what he was last year. I feel like he was just, trying to find his way last year. And that's another reason, but why they kind of kept him around. But this year, he's playing with more confidence, and he's a straight up thumper. You don't just get 13 tackles just because, So exactly what you said, Smitty, practice squad at worst, but he may end up sneaking on this team, man, because at the end of the day, our GM, our head coach, and our coaching staff going to want the best players. And it's going to be a tough decision about this 53, but I think Natron definitely, deserves a second and possibly even a third look.
Facts. Bryce, this is a great question. Do you think Kevin King has a spot on the squad? Can he get a roster spot?
It's possible. I mean, when I was out there for camp, he wasn't bad. For the 2 days I watched him, obviously he had a pick in the first preseason game, which obviously was big for him as well. I like to call it the Kevin King redemption story as he's trying to redeem himself. Obviously, I've talked to some Packer fans, and their only memories of him was getting cooked against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers in that playoff game. So that's why they're kind of sour on him. So he has been in the league. But I think there's definitely a chance. The one thing about just him, especially, and then that entire just back into the defensive back room, it's been great competition there. Like Antonio Hamilton also
Ooh,
deserves. He's been really
man.
good
I like
for camp.
Antonio Hamilton.
I mean, they like it's kind of funny. Like our question is like the number two. We're good at one. Well, depending on how you feel about AJ Terrell, we're good at one. Good at three with D, and then 4, 5, and 6. I feel what I've seen. I feel fine with what we've seen.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of funny a little bit, you know.
Right.
So it's one of those things where I think Kevin King is going to be tough because they can't keep everybody, you know.
Right.
And then White House goes to practice.
Can't keep
You know what I'm
everybody.
saying? And if he goes to practice squad, that's fine because at the end of the day, if you do have injuries to that position, you know, hey, this is a guy who performed well for us in camp, performed well for us in preseason. We can bring him in. No, he knows our system. He knows our defense, and we're confident. And realistically, you know, depending on who's hurt, you know, he may not be thrust into like, we got to have you play 80% of the snaps. It may be 20, 30% of the snaps and some special teams. So I think realistically, I think Kevin has a chance. I mean, this third preseason game is obviously going to be huge for guys like Brooks and King and Hamilton as they try to make that final push to firmly establish themselves on the roster. Because we got to also figure out, are the Falcons only keeping 5 corners, or they're going to maybe keep 6 corners? You know, that's also a part of that process as well, and what they're going to do, because they already said they're going to go heavy on the D line. So what position are they going to take from in that position? So I think it'll be very interesting to kind of see that cornerback 4 or 5 and potentially 6 get figured out over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, you know, I feel like for that, how you mentioned it, you know, with the safety in the corner, which group is going to have one or less one? I think right now the safety group is probably where you would, you know, trot out less guys, keep maybe 3 or 4 on the roster, and just load up on the cornerback. And I think the Falcons will keep 6. I think 3 for the starters. You know, you got Hughes, D. Alfred, and AJ Terrell, but then you also got, you know, Clark Phillips, who is no slouch by no means, and he's been flying around all training camp. So who knows? I think, you know, I really do think that battle between Hughes and Clark won't be unveiled as the clear-cut winner until week 1 preparation versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. I really have a feeling that's where it's going to happen, man. And here's another thing with Kevin King, man. You know, with Kevin King, of course, Jimmy Lake knowing a thing or two about him, having coached him at the University of Washington, and also Jerry Gray knowing him very well as well. Justin Hood, another one of our defensive back coaches, he has a slight advantage, but I'm loving his chances. And like you mentioned, Chris, Antonio Hamilton, man, he's been out of his mind. And that's what I'm saying, man. It's just like, man, this all of a sudden now seems like the strength of this Falcons team is the secondary. Sure, the players are good, but I think it's a lot of the coaching that's like really slowing this game down for these players to be great or just be, you know, functional at best, man. So yeah, oh man, I'm enjoying what I'm seeing thus far from this Falcons defense, man. But switching gears right quick, and of course we're going to highlight again some of the comments that were made today by both Matt Judon and Justin Simmons. I'll start with the Justin Simmons situation, man. He had a little piece there at after training camp where it kind of hit home, struck a chord, man. He says he didn't want to go to a team where he knew things were going to be handed to him. He wanted to go to a team where he knew he had to work for what he was going to earn, and a team that was hungry. And he saw all of that with the Atlanta Falcons, to summarize of some of what he said. But to you guys, you want to talk about leadership already that he's establishing, and he's only been here just a few days. I'm excited to see what he's going to offer on the field and off the field, or on the sidelines, just to rally these guys when it matters the most. So just real quick, if you guys are up to date on that Justin Simmons situation, just a quick comment on that. I'll start with Brycey, because I know you have your ear to it, being a media member yourself, so you know a thing or two. So let us know, how do you feel about that, man?
I mean, you got to think about where Judon's coming from right now. He's a guy who missed the end of his season, who missed the season last year, basically after the first 4 games. He's a guy who feels like, listen, I have to prove to myself that I'm still the guy who had 15 and a half sacks a couple years ago, 12 and a half sacks a couple years ago. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things where that's why he's like, when I got here, I'm not going to ask for a new contract because I can't just go off my past. I have to go off like okay, I got to prove that I'm still that guy to them to make them warrant paying me the money. You know, I mentioned earlier today, I said, listen, if Judon comes in here and is the pass rusher of old, you know, And then next year, you sign him to a deal, whatever that is. You can bring Trice back. Let's say Ebiketie makes a step forward. Edge now looking pretty nice. It's looking, you got 3 guys, and then depending on what else ever happens. So I think realistically for him, he's motivated because he wants to show that I can be that guy again. I can be that elite pass rusher. And then he's like, with my play, it'll warrant me asking for whatever money he may be looking for. Because like he was looking for a certain contract from New England, right?
Right.
That's why he wanted the contract from him. He's in Atlanta. Yeah. Okay, they're not New England anymore, right?
Yeah.
This is a new slate for me. This is a new slate. I can't just say, because again, also he's 32. You never know if that could make some concern. Okay, is he starting to go downhill at some point? Right. So for him, if he comes out, gives you 10 plus, he can go to Atlanta, Terry, and say, listen, this is what I want because I proved I'm that guy again. So
I'm still him.
I think this is something that it's great to, you really don't hear that from players nowadays. Say, I'm not going, don't like, it's okay if they don't pay me right now. Let me prove to you that you need to pay me. A lot of them are like, listen, my numbers in the past speak for it. Regardless, you should just pay me anyway, even though we have no idea if you'll be that same guy. And so this is very beneficial for Atlanta that they're in this position. He's willing to be in this spot. You know, maybe Chicago, because how people feel about Chicago, he may just be like, yeah, y'all got to pay me if y'all want me to come. I mean, he had the option to pick Atlanta or Chicago, and he said, I want Atlanta.
And the funny thing about that, Chicago could have gave him what he wanted because they still have a good little bit of cap space. But I agree with everything you said about Judon. If he stays here and he gets 10 plus sacks, you will have to pay him. But think about this. In Atlanta, they probably would still get a discount because of the chemistry he's built with this team. And if they make a deep playoff run, he said, I want to do that again. So I take less to stay here to try to get that championship ring. So they push the Falcons, you know, in the front seat as far as next offseason. So, Judon, it was great to hear him say that because a lot of people, just like Hassan Reddick in New York, he wants
look at that.
Top pass rushing money. If he doesn't produce double-digit sacks, the Jets lose money because guess what? 9 times out of 10, he's just gonna go downhill from there. So it to me is a relief to see some players still know that money ain't everything. When you get to a certain point in your career, it's more about championship rings. It's more about winning football games because if you made enough money in your career and you've invested your money wisely, at some point, money is just an object. But we have a super chat. And I'm not going to do the big low, so please don't ask. But Chris, if you want to read that super chat, go ahead.
Hey, man, it's from Greg Custom Kicks. And, man, he had some fire kicks that he made for Uncle Steve, man. Not going to lie, you definitely going to have to check him out because I definitely plan to. But said, nice meeting you guys, and thank you for the support. I can count on my fellow Falcon fans to keep me busy. Everybody wants a pair now. Thank you. And hey, that's what it's all about. Getting more clientele, fellowshipping, putting your business out there. And hey, Greg Custom Kicks is going to be busy this Falcon season. And I know he loves that, man. But I agree with you guys, man. Both of you guys are what you guys are saying about Judon. It's great that he wants to come here and pretty much earn it because he could have just came in with his hand out. And, so that I feel like that's a testament to the man himself, so that Judon is. Also, man, I believe I want to give a shout out to Jesse Bates. Yes, sir, I got it because he put the word out, y'all. He put the word out that we're building things here in Atlanta. And it started last year. Calais came down, Bud Dupree came down, and it's continuing this season. Now we have Kurt, now we have Justin Simmons, now we have Judon. So that trend is still, continuing because we are building something down here. And I love the fact that when Justin Simmons, I did see that he liked the fact that we did get Judon. And when I seen that, I just like, man, I'm just waiting on the tweet. I'm just waiting on it to come through, man, the news. And it did, of course. But Justin Simmons saying himself that once he seen the moves that the Falcons were making, he had to get on the horn. Hey, yo, trying to get to Atlanta. Yeah, we can go ahead and make that happen. Who? New Orleans? No, I said Atlanta. Okay, yeah. Man, because at the end of the day, man, who wants to play with a honeybee, man? You can have the Bates Motel right next to you. You're doing the same things, man. These guys, they can play all over the field. It's going to be a nightmare for coaching staffs, for the offensive coordinators in particular, and definitely for quarterbacks, man. I can't wait for these guys to get after it because they want to earn it. So that lets you know that they have something to play for.
But man, that was emotional. I just, the satisfaction and gratification I get out of it is some of the tweets and comments that players around the league have made on behalf of Coach Raheem Morris and what he has meant in a short time to Atlanta, what he's meant to so many players throughout the league is kind of now coming to fruition. Now Atlanta is a hot destination, so to say, the place to be now. So with guys trickling in, taking less money now to be with a team that's an up, not an upstart, but just up and coming, we should say that, that really, brings a sigh of relief, man, because we're now in that game of getting premium talent, like in years, more than ever. Because years before, we can all say it, Atlanta probably wasn't that destination spot for them. It was just more like a cash grab. That's how players are probably treating it. But now, the organization has more respect overall, and I think it's large in part to how Coach Raheem attacks it day in and day out, and how he wears his emotion on his sleeves, and how he is with his players overall. James Sinkfield says, I don't like it when people say players won't come to Atlanta. I disagree. Players won't play for a dysfunctional front office. And that's another one. They have
the Atlanta Hawks.
A good brain trust upstairs. From Kyle Smith to Arthur Blank, man. We got Smitty's guy out of office. What's his name?
Man, there you go.
Rich McKay. He's out of office. That was his guy. Oh man, there was a one episode Smitty wouldn't go with the fire Rich McKay's ass. Fire him. He got it. I was like Vince McMahon. Sorry.
But you got to give a shout out to Terry Fontenot too, man, because
absolutely.
He's done a superb job from switching this roster around to making it competitive, because when he got here it was a total shit show. And I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. And pardon my French on that, but I'm just keep it real. He's turned it. You go from a veteran in Matt Ryan, who was, and I'm not disrespecting him at the tail end of his career. Then you go through the Arthur Smith era, the 3 years of hell. Now you get a competent coach, and you bring in a coaching staff that is, they're cohesive and they're learning together. And that's what it should have been the last 3 years, but it wasn't, because ego got in the way. But now you have everybody on the same page, and it's coming together. And you can feel the energy, and we've been saying that for years. But this energy that we see with Raheem Morris and this staff, it's just totally different, and that's exactly what we need.
Hey man, the Arthur Smith era was like not having insurance and needing to have a tooth pulled. You just keep on trying to take something to try to get past it and try to get through it. And it just but that tooth got to get pulled, y'all. And I'm so glad that we pulled the tooth, man. I know that's a crazy analogy, but that's just how bad the pain was for dealing with Arthur Smith.
Hey Chris, I had 6 pulled last year one time. So
you a better man than I.
Shit, hey, man.
Gotta do what you gotta do, bro.
Smith, this one for you right here, man.
Got a super chat, man, from my boy Greg Custom Kicks again. If y'all didn't check out those kicks from Uncle Steve, you can go to his channel, or you can check out one of the videos from the meet and greet. But I will post them on my community page so y'all can see them. He's great with these sneakers, man. He's ahead of the game. He made some Freddy Cougar sneakers. They were very dope. So trust me, if you can come up with an idea, he can make it. But it says, I don't think Smitty and A1 Forever realized I was that big of a guy. I didn't. I'm gonna keep it real. Say he played defensive end, and man, I honestly, man,
I almost told him to go out there with the Falcons.
Hey, I'm 5'3.5". I look like his stepson. I'm gonna just keep it real with y'all. But but yeah, man,
it was wonderful, man. Fellowshipping, man. That's what it's all about, man. And I continue. I just want this thing to grow and us to fellowship more with all the Falcon fans, Falcon content creators, because, man, we got to put this, we got to stick together, man. This is our time to rise up. You hear what I'm talking about? So, it did.
Well, Chris,
just wanted to throw that out there, man.
Hey, as my grandparents always told me, man, Some people just ain't gonna do right, and we just leave it at that.
Yes, sir. Got another super chat from the
Oh,
hold on, let me ask this. This
uh-oh.
was the winner of the sing-off between Lowe and Uncle Steve, correct? Am I correct? I just gotta bring it up. I know what's going on. I'm not in
Oh
Atlanta.
man,
My ears to the streets, and I
that,
heard
that was
that
the
Man,
best part
Uncle
of the meet and
Steve's
greet.
Lounge.
man, that thing was hilarious.
Uncle Steve,
Yeah.
shout out to you. Thank you for the $4.99 donation. He said, "What's up, fellas? I kind of like Judah's presser today. No nonsense and let's play ball attitude. Bring on these terrible towels on week 1. Yeah, them terrible towels are going. They're gonna need more than that because they're dropping like flies over in the Steel City. But yes, man, thank you for the donation and congratulations on your victory at the content creators meetup and at Benchwarmers in Stockbridge, Georgia.
What was it called?
Number
What
one
was
guy
it
there.
called?
Bench warmers.
The first.
Bench
I think
warmers.
it was the first
Yeah.
annual or the something like the
Second
first
annual.
annual or the inaugural.
Second annual meet and
What
greet.
is it? No, I'm just
Second
saying.
annual meet and greet.
What was he?
Content creator.
What was he calling the competition? Oh, the nobody is
okay.
coming to
Yeah,
see
yeah,
you,
yeah.
Otis. Inaugural singing competition. Oh Lord.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
man, and nobody come to see you, Otis, man. You know, Uncle
And
Steve can tell you
and
more about it,
and
especially on
Aunt
his
Mad
channel.
was a little off. Aunt Mad was a little off too. He said he was gonna sell it for 70-30. He said that was half.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah,
he said that was right
yeah, I
down
was
the
a little
middle
bit off.
too. He said
Yeah,
that
he
was
said
right
that was
down the
right down the
middle.
middle. Yeah, that's a little diagonal if you ask me though.
A little adjacent.
Man. All right, fellas, man. Hey, before we head out and stuff like that, there is something else I want to bring to light, right? And it's going back to the beginning, we talked about depth, but I failed to mention another area that may be of some concern, but I want to get your guys' thoughts on it. And of course, that's the wide receiver position, right? We bought in Jakeem Grant. Jakeem Grant, unfortunately, is out for the year or out for a certain amount of time. And what rose from the ashes again this week, this Baltimore game really showed us, that the Falcons have some quality depth, and one being in the form of Chris Blair, who showed up and showed out. After, he had a crucial fumble in the first game against the Miami Dolphins, he came back with some redemption, right? So as it states right now, it's Drake London, Darnell Mooney, Ray McLeod. 4 is now looking like it could be Chris Blair. And then 5 through 6, it's up in the air. Of course, we're all, kind of hanging our hat on Casey Washington. I know I am, but he put up no stats on Saturday, which drew a red flag for me. But for you guys, do you see the Falcons in the coming weeks becoming a little bit more aggressive at that position to bring in another veteran? We also released James Washington, who had no impact at all on this team whatsoever, just another camp body. But is that something to look out for as potentially the Falcons, another move the Falcons will make down the line is adding to that wide receiver room? Brycey, please, if you can.
Yeah, Bryce, go ahead.
Please.
I'm they tried to add to it. Obviously, they had Rondell and they added Grant. Obviously, they added a certain type of player. They clearly want a speedster. Clearly, they want to use a guy hitting space. At this point, I could see them at least for now not doing anything, just letting things play out with Blair, Casey Washington, and anybody else. I mean, at the end of the day, guys, Cordell Hodge is still in this. He's one of the best special teams guys. He's just a guy who, if you need him, he's there. So, he'll probably make the roster, I feel like, too, unless something surprises us. Or, again, once we get to cuts, we'll see who gets cut, see if maybe the Falcons are interested in anybody who is out hitting the market. So, I don't think they're going to be too aggressive right now. I think they're just going to play it out to the end of the preseasons and reevaluate where they are. Obviously, you have a week off before you get to the first actual game. So, they have plenty of time to actually sit there and just kind of really evaluate and really see what they want to do at that spot. Because, I mean, for the most part, a lot of people have been saying the receiving core is weak. I think a lot of people still are not sure about Darnell Mooney. And so they're not sure if he'll be a good number 2, which I think he will be. And then I think Ray has impressed. He has made strides in camp. I know a lot of people don't believe in Ray McLeod as a receiver either. So, but I mean, he was winning the slot job before Rondell got hurt. So clearly he was doing something right. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how it lays out, because now you're getting the receivers 4, 5, and 6. Blair making impressions. Casey, clearly you could see Penix and Casey, they have strong chemistry together. Penix didn't
There
play.
you go.
Casey basically probably, I don't know how much he gets throws from Heineke or I forgot the fourth string guy from the roster. I mean, I feel like he's pretty much been with Penix when he's having reps. So I mean, to me, I guess it kind of makes sense that but at the same time, I also understand you at least want him to make a catch or two there. But I mean, I think from what we've heard throughout the off season, he's had a good off season. So I think he'll make the team as well. I think one thing I think sometimes we get impatient. We don't, like I said, we don't like development and letting guys like just have a chance. We want instant answers now. We want instant players now. It is like, listen, guys, sometimes you got to let a guy like a Casey Washington or a Chris Player just be in that position and see how they do. And
homegrown talent.
So, I mean, that's why you have coaching.
Yeah, no, I ain't going to lie to you. I just feel like with the Casey Washington thing, I think it's going to be fine. Let's just be honest. Taylor Heineke is not getting much time with these guys. And most of those throws were on Taylor Heineke. I know a couple of hit him in the hands is talking about as far as Casey Washington, but overall, some of those passes was just off. The timing was just off. You can just see that it just wasn't there. Had that been Michael Penix, he definitely would have caught more passes. He could have caught all of them with the accuracy and the timing down with those two particular guys that we even seen when the Falcons decided to have the open practice at Mercedes-Benz. It displayed there too. So we've seen that chemistry right there between those two guys is going to flourish. But Taylor Heineke, he's just a guy that's getting run out there right now. He doesn't have the timing down with a lot of guys. He's just trying to use veteran experience, and it's failing him as well. So the Casey Washington thing, I think he's going to be fine. I do think that he needs to keep an eye out for Chris Blair, who does have something to prove. I know he had to fumble, but he had a bounce back game last week, I believe so. And, he has to, look out for him. And Blair's a veteran regardless. Been around the league, been around a couple of leagues, actually. So he has to watch out for him, being a veteran and Casey still being a rookie. But I wouldn't put too much thought into it, man, because Penix and Casey seems to have the chemistry. And again, Taylor Heineke is not getting reps.
Yeah, I agree with that. But with the wide receiver position, and I tell y'all this all the time, you don't really have to have a superstar at wide receiver when you got what you already have. You can just bring in a slot guy or a guy that can maneuver his way through the field and just become a possession guy. And I see Hunter Renfrow name being thrown around a lot, but you're gonna have to pay him a decent amount of change. So just why not just use what you have in Casey Washington, Chris Blair, and see what they give you outside of Drake London, Darnell Mooney, Kyle Pitts. Ain't no need to spend no more money on the receiver. Just use what you have, and because you trust me, and I know this from watching football 40 years, injuries are going to occur. So you got to have money during the season to spend money to fill in more roster spots if injuries take place. So you can't spend all your money before the season starts. You can, but if you do, guess what? When injury hit, you're going to be stuck in a bad position. So I think they should roll with just what they got.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to oversaturate a room either. You kind of want to start, doing the homegrown talent, because then you got to face it too, man. It prevents you from paying more lucrative contracts down the line when you got guys that you're upbringing and they fit to your scheme or how you want them to play. So it makes a lot of sense, man. But we got another super chat here for you, Smitty. Dwayne Body of $20, man. Appreciate the donation to the platform. Really appreciate that. He says hello from California.
Pizza with that.
No, you getting chicken. I know you're not. I know that.
We already know you ain't fooling nobody.
You ain't fooling nobody. You a goddamn liar.
You're up here with. This man said pizza.
No, he's not. He's gonna get some goddamn things with a lot of wet naps.
Man, what? I'm trying to tell you. Man, gonna use the whole nub on the wings.
Oh, he says hello from California. Hope to see y'all at the Raiders game. 13-4 this year. Book it. God bless. Likewise to you. God bless you as well. Thank you for joining the stream this evening and giving us this donation.
We had one more super chat. My boy Breeze 1500. Shout out to him, man. Thank you for the super chat. $9.99. throw a question out there if you're still on the chat. If you're still in the chat, throw a question out there. But I think Russell Gage got picked up, but I think he's damaged goods because he's been hurt the last 3 years. So I wouldn't even think about Russell Gage.
Hey, and don't forget we also got to give a shout out to JD Bertrand. He had one of the top rookies PFF this week. He had a really solid game, showing why he's called Captain America. Everything under the sun. I mean, listen, he ain't gonna probably obviously play because we just have so much depth at that spot at linebacker. But a guy who you can tell the Falcons are like, listen, if we have to move off one of these three, we have someone ready to go to step up in a couple of years in that development process.
PFF graded today and graded JD Bertrand in 84.4 out of all the rookies at that position. So shout out Captain America. He is doing his thing, flying all around the league. I mean, all around the field. Sorry.
Better watch your head, Troy Anderson. Better watch your head.
Stop. No,
we're not going about this too, Bryce. With Caden Ellis, this being a second year of a 3-year deal. Going to get JD Bertrand, and what if they want to go get another big name next year when they come off those big contracts? You have somebody to fill that middle linebacker spot, and this year you can use him in certain packages if you want to shift Kate Ellis to the outside or Troy Anderson to the outside. So everything is falling into place just like it should.
A lot of flexibility, really, with the defense and everything. But I got one question for you guys. Obviously,
right.
One of the big discussions out of the preseason game was the fact that Penix did not play and he shut down for the rest of the preseason. I know that was a lot of Falcons fans were not happy about that.
I understand it though.
I do too. But I wanted to get y'all guys' thoughts on that decision because I feel like, again, with the game changing and health being prioritized, even though Penix is a backup, I look at the J.J. McCarthy situation. A lot of people expected him to play at some point this year. If Sam Darnold struggled or went down, you would go to J.J. and it's like, all right, I guess the future is now. Well, now the future ain't going to be now and if Sam Darnold has something happens to him. And so I have no idea who the backup is. Maybe Nick Bowen? But
I thought they got somebody else.
Yeah, so my question is, are y'all cool with it? Because he made a comment today on Kay Adams' show about it too. He said, basically, he summed it up like this: we can have him out there playing with the threes, or we can have him in 11-11s against the ones and twos. Which one's going to be more beneficial to him? And there's a better chance he won't get hurt because obviously we can control what happens in practice. Preseason, that's live football. So what are y'all thoughts on Penix not playing for the rest of the preseason?
I agree with him wholeheartedly, 200%. Because why would you want your future to be playing behind the third string when you know they're not as good as the first and second string? They're third string for a reason. That means the talent level drops down just a little bit after every string that you go through. It made sense. But the only thing that I was worried about is him having reps, and he has to come in and play this year at some point. Let's say Kirk Cousins goes down. God, I hope he won't. But what if he goes down and he comes in and he's not ready because he didn't get enough reps? But one thing that I do know, and he said it after the very first game, and this is what gained my confidence. He said the game was actually faster in practice than it was on the field, and he actually showed that against Miami. Because he was finding holes in his zone. You saw the deep passes, and if he made those throws at the end zone, then guess what? He has a perfect game. So look, 9 out of 16 is not bad, 104 yards. But what you saw him going through his progression like he was supposed to, he was moving around in the pocket. He was finding the open spots. He was throwing the out pass, the out routes, the 5-yard outs, all that. So he's ready. Like I said, they just trying to figure out who they're going to have as the third string or the practice squad quarterback at this point.
That's it. I'm talking about that's it.
No. I don't know, man. I just view it a little bit different, man. I'm sorry. I hate to go against the grain, but I feel like snaps are everything in the National Football League, whether they be in practice or in live, right? You never know. The NFL stands for not for long, right? And anything can happen at any given point. Kirk Cousins, can get hurt just walking outside of his house, man. You know what I mean? But we need to make sure that next guy that is presumed to be the backup has to be ready. So 9 out of 14 I get, or 9 out of 16 for 104 yards. I don't think that tells me everything there. That's not the whole story. That we're going to proclaim this young man ready to go, because we don't know if we have to call on him during the season. We don't know. So you always got to keep this kid prepared in some way, shape, or form. I know that there's a number out there. I don't know the number, but it's more mental than anything than it is physical when it comes to the game of football. So it's pretty much all the reps that you do is really not live. It's all mental. How ready is his mental? How prepared can those coaches have him to be ready just in case? I need to see him do it mentally and physically at the same time. So for me, I would want to see Penix, get a little bit more action. I know that the JJ McCarthy situation and all of that's disheartening to hear. But at the same time, man, we got a guy in place of our 8th overall pick that could go down at any point, unfortunately, because hey, it's just a fact, man. So I would have loved to see
think about it too, Berto.
Mhm.
I know, he was comfortable, with what he was doing in Miami. But what if he went against first string defenses? It wouldn't be as easy as he think.
It wouldn't.
It would be the game would be much faster. So, like I said, it's a level to everything for a reason.
Sure,
But Georgia, I know you got a question. Please throw it out there right quick before we get out of here. Georgia Dog, please write that question that you want to. We have one more super chat at Mr. Tramiel. His culture. Appreciate you, my brother. He always give me a hard time, but I'm used to it now. And man, so Tramiel, thank you. I agree with Mike Penix to a certain extent, but I understand, man. But
it's tough because he's coming from what they did with LA, because LA didn't play starters, and so I think that he's coming from that, and then like Raheem really believes that the reps that he's getting in the 11-11s in training camp are just as valuable as the preseason reps. I think he really believes that, because he's just like, because he's pretty much taken he's taken second team reps all off season, so pretty much through camp. So he's pretty much been playing against the 1s and 2s on the Falcons the whole time. And I think, like I said, I just think Raheem views that and says, okay, if I put him out there against the threes, what do we really like? Does that really get him ready?
What are you accomplishing? Right.
Because like if he
right.
let's say he plays well against the 3s. That does not tell me he can come in and play against the Steelers 1s at all. Because it's the 3s. Half of them guys won't even be there. So I think he feels like, well, if we're giving him reps against our 1s, and he's getting more chemistry with guys who, because when they rotate with the 2s, sometimes they'll have occasionally a guy that's a 1 in that team. It just depends when I was out there. So it wasn't just strictly just number 2 guys. There were times where Penix would go against number 1 defense. He would have maybe a Pitts or a London or someone, just one of them though, and then it'll just be on the play. So I think it's just that new age of the NFL, preseason losing meaning. Guys want people to stay healthy, and just it's one of those things where I just think they feel like, listen, we can get more out of that, because today he said he's like, Penix is going to get a lot of reps still in practice. Mm-hmm. They want him. They are very invested in his development. They value him almost like he is a starter. It feels like it's like they value him very highly, because they understand like if whenever that time comes, we have to have him ready, and they know that.
Right. But this is a question for both of y'all, since y'all our Hawks guys. I'm gonna let both of y'all go into this question, but finish what you were gonna say about the Falcons, Chris, and then both of y'all can answer that last question.
I was just gonna say, man, I kind of go the route that Berto's going with. I'm sorry. I understand we're being conservative. Don't get me wrong. I understand the move completely, and I respect it, and I trust in what Raheem, his plan for the coaching staff. I don't want to, and for the players, like I don't want to, jump the gun on that. But personally, I feel like it's a conservative move. I feel like honestly, anybody can get hurt at any given time. My thing is, ask Mike Soroka what happened with his Achilles when he was just walking up the stairs. So I'm just saying, like, it can happen at any given time. You can get injured. Why go into things about playing scared? The QB1 is Kirk Cousins anyway. And even though you
Right.
are, saying keeping things in that confinement, yeah, you can control everything. At the end of the day, nothing compares to a guy with cruel intentions coming at you, and you really have to show your skills. At the end of the day, in the mind, it's a mental thing. In the mind, he know that Grady Jarrett coming at him, David Amanyana or Matt Judon have no cruel intentions. Yeah, they're gonna try to get after him. Yeah, it's a rep and it counts, but there are no cruel intentions there. So at the end of the day, it's still like kind of like dumbing it down and kind of like making it soft and easy. Man, go ahead and
Yeah.
give this man some more reps and keep
Yeah.
him ready just in case. We're not saying that Kirk Cousins is going to be hurt. We're saying Kirk Cousins is going to be healthy for as long as he needs to be, and he's not going to have any more injuries. But at the same time, outside of practice, get the man Michael Penix reps, give him something to do, give him, continue to learn the offense, continue to build that camaraderie and that chemistry, because you never can have enough of it. And to go against guys who, again, have cruel intentions, coming at you. Again, I understand and I respect the decision as a coaching staff, and that's the head coach of Raheem Morris. Completely understand, not going against it. But if you want to ask my personal opinions, yes, I'm still giving Penix some reps in the final preseason game in our home stadium because the fans haven't really seen him like that. See how he reacts against this defense that's coming to try to, having guys that wants to prove something. It's just you can give him a few snaps. I ain't saying even play him a whole half or a whole game. Just keep him in the rhythm. That's all I'm asking. Just keep him in the rhythm. I don't seen too many times quarterbacks out of the rhythm for the Atlanta Falcons. I'm just saying. It's the facts.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this is a conversation be his own video, man, because there's so many points and point of views you could take on it, man. I know people always bring up the question of like, how is it that college guys could just go out there and play week one, big matchup, NFL guys can't, things like that. I mean, there's many different angles that you can take. At the end of the day, this is the decision they're doing. Raheem is clearly taking a conservative approach. We don't know how losing Rondell, losing Helms in the 1 week. We don't know if that scared him. Be like, hey, we don't need to play nobody else because we can't just be having guys just dropping left and right like that. Because if we do that, because here's the thing, it's a very fluid conversation. Because if a star gets hurt, we're gonna be on this. We're gonna be talking here saying should they have played? We go, that's just how it is. Because the preseason is just like. It's not. It's like it's almost not meaningful, but it is. But then you see the Chiefs playing their starters, and you see Houston playing their starters. Which I mean, Houston's an extreme example because they were lighting people up first day. But it literally just depends.
But if y'all want more, if y'all want more great takes like that, man, please go to Bryce channel. Is in the chat. The link is in the chat. Please go sub. Georgia says she subbed, so you should sub too. And I agree with that 100%. So if y'all want to check Bryce out on a daily basis, man, please click the link. Go to his channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. And look, y'all get the last word again. How y'all think about the Hawks off season so far before we get out of here? Tremel, that's a big pause. But how y'all feel about the Hawks off
season? Jeez Louise. Go ahead, Bryce. You the guest, man.
I bet. I mean, for me, with the Hawks off season, I just feel like, it's one of those things where they are believing in addition by subtraction. They're believing in fit, in chemistry will improve the team. Improving some positions, becoming a little bit bigger, maybe not in the front court, but maybe just at other positional positions from 2 to 3, 4. And going back to, I mean, last time they had a winning season was when Trae Young was the solo star, quote unquote. So technically you can't say it don't work because the last time we had it was a winning season. We were just concerned more about the playoffs more than the regular season. And that was with Nate McMillan. And so, I think overall, I mean, they made some additions. They, like I said, they got some shooters. They got some guys who can guard multiple positions. I think they've improved defensively, improved the point of attack. I think some guys' roles are going to change, so I'm curious to see how how players adapt to that. Obviously, guys like Jalen Johnson, them stepping up into a bigger role, and then just how Trae comes back to being, like I said, the solo dolo guy, the main guy, and then seeing how Quinn's system now is going to be ran in this way, and how that leads to, the success of this team moving forward. So overall, I mean, like I said, it just kind of depends on how you feel. They're taking a developmental approach, but adding guys that they think can also contribute now, but can be better in years to come. So I know that's, like I said, not the most popular thing, but that's what they're doing. I know the Hawks are kind of hard to read, so it's easy to say they'll be bad, but at the same time, they could be better than expected. So we have to just literally go out there and see what they do and see what the team looks like and see how they play. And then we'll have a better idea of what this team's going to be moving forward, going into the regular season, as training camp's about a month and a half out. And then, they'll get into preseason and get ready for regular season. Schedule just got released last week. So be interesting definitely to see what happens for sure with the Hawks. But overall, I think offseason, I mean, they had a plan in place. They executed their plan. I'm fine with the plan. I'm ready to go ahead and see what the team now looks like with the pieces together.
Yeah.
Facts, man. I agree with just the piggyback. Yeah, man, just to piggyback off Bryce's points, because he has some great points already that he illustrated and laid out. But yeah, man, as far as like just some of the pieces that we have, like Dyson Daniels coming in and, getting Ricochet, bringing him in. I know a lot of people want Ricochet to start. I totally go against that. I believe he should be brought on along a little bit. I understand he's the number one pick, but that doesn't mean anything to me. He has no NBA experience. No shout out to DC real quick. I said, but he has no NBA experience. But even though Dyson Daniels has been coming off of the bench, he does have NBA experience. He does have point of attack defense. Again, like Bryce was saying, we did get better at defense because at the end of the day, we can have the number one offense all we want. We can't stop nobody. So that was the whole thing. We had to gain an identity. And one identity we have to do is, being able to stop the opposing offenses more. And then Trey going back to being the focal point. We're putting the people around the facilitator, and he's going to be able to make people better. Dyson Daniels was looking great, in Australia. Hopefully he can be able to take the next step. Hopefully DeAndre Hunter will be able to stay healthy. The Hawks have guys that have length and size, pause if y'all into that or whatever. But we're talking about they're putting that around Trey Young, man. They're putting better defenders around Trey Young. And Trey actually had some of his best decisions. I'm just saying. And Trey had his best season, as a defender last year. So hopefully the Hawks can continue to build on. And just the last little nugget, don't forget that if things can go the Hawks' way, it's a possibility the Hawks can have 2 draft picks next season in a loaded draft to continue to build on what they've done this previous offseason, trying to make Atlanta a more attractive place.
You're going to have to start the Cooper Flag agenda.
Oh, boy.
I trade both of them picks for him. But before we get out of here, man, I got to give a shout out to my boy DC, ATLGA Faithful. Y'all, please go check him out on YouTube, man. He's doing this thing. He's almost at 1,000 subs, man. Please have him get to 1,000 subs. He's one of those country creators that puts in the work just like I do. So y'all, please go check out ATLGA Faithful on YouTube. But again, man, this has been an awesome show.
The bonus too, man. Came from a long way to the meet and greet.
Man, look, man, if y'all want to know what happened at the meet and greet, please go to all our channels. Everybody put out a video, so it really don't matter who channel you go to. You'll get their point of view. And look, when we have another one, trust me, it's gonna get bigger and bigger every year. Pause again, but again, we may have one before the season.
Bird on your face.
We may have another before the season over. But look,
y'all all right? A lot of pauses over here tonight, man.
And man, look, I got a button right there, but
oh man,
like Jesus. Like I always say, man, Berto going to take us out, man.
So I go ahead.
This is link to his channel, ATLGA Faithful.
Oh, yeah.
Please go ahead and click on the link. And
oh man, my bad. I'm sorry, y'all. I just gotta say this before we go. We worried about Ryan Nielsen, right? And he was, the first year defensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons last year. We have Jimmy Lake, and he's a first-year defensive coordinator, sitting pretty much in the NFL. But at the end of the day, we had, some reservations about Ryan Nielsen. We felt better because he was an NFL coach, but we still didn't know what he was going to come in and do. Can we please, guys, give Jimmy Lake some faith, some grace, you know what I'm saying, because we don't know what he's going to do. He has a lot of different weapons that should make his job a little easier. Let's wait and see what he does as far as his scheme and really when he puts it out there. Of course, he's going to have Raheem. He's going to have Jerry Gray. He has other guys that's going to come in there and help him as well. So like Jay Rogers as well too. So he has guys that's going to help him. Let's see what happens. Let's just see what happens, okay? Before we just go ahead and say, oh, we're not going to be able to do this and do this and do that and do this and do this and do that. All right? Let's just, I'm just saying. Shout out to all my Falcon fans, man. Salute.
Man, it's been an eventful evening, to say the least. A pop-up show and great success. Shout out to everybody that came through. We got this jump off 240, views at a moment's time, man. That was pretty awesome, man. Appreciate Bracey, Bracey for coming through. But Bracey, please let the folks know where they can find you, and if you have anything up and coming, please let the world know what you're working on, fam.
Yeah, y'all can find me Bryce_2K across all social media, YouTube, Twitter as well. If you want to catch up all my Falcons and Hawks takes over there. I am host of the Believe in the Hawks podcast, available on any podcast platform as well. If you want to go check that out, show some love to that as we continue to grow that, going closer to the Hawks season. And obviously with the Falcons season about to officially start with the regular season here in about almost under 2 weeks. Obviously, we'll have content coming for that as well. Hoping to have some guests on. You will see this panel probably on my channel more than once as this year goes on. As there's gonna be a lot to talk about as the year goes on. But I appreciate you guys
working.
Talk some Falcons with y'all tonight.
Appreciate you, man.
Trust me, we're gonna be on your channel, man. We always working. Always.
Love the work, man. Love the work.
Chris, what you got, Chris?
Hey, man, I'm just going to tell y'all it's 9:30 at night. I don't know what taking y'all so long if you haven't, but just find your peace today, man. Positive energy always creates elevation. Come on over to A1 Forever Sports, man. Check out that Justin Simmons, Jesse Bates video. Definitely some information in there. Gave my thoughts about these guys, and I definitely believe they're going to help us and bolster this defense tremendously. Also, man, I got a Chris Sale video coming out too for the Atlanta Braves fans, man. So yeah, man, you already know it's Hawks, Braves, Falcons, at least, you know, it's over at Atlanta at A1 Forever Sports, man. So just come check us out, man. Shout out to everybody again, man. Shout out to this panel. Shout out to Atlanta Falcon fans. It's a wonderful time to be a Falcon fan. What a time to be alive. That's all I got.
I got to do this to the moderator before we get out of here.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Oh, man. Why you got to do that to Joy, man? Don't do that to her.
Joy didn't do nothing. Joy didn't do nothing tonight. Joy was good tonight.
You know I'm messing with you.
Yeah. What you got, Smith?
Yeah, man. I'm always dropping content. It's football season. We finna have a ball. These pregame preview shows are gonna be lit because we're gonna have a special guest every single preview show this year. So y'all get ready for a great season. Preview shows. Post game shows on Sunday. Y'all come through, vent your frustration about what you thought about the game because it's about to go down. And I'm telling y'all, with y'all help, that new 95 North Falcons talk show, 95 North Sports Machine YouTube channel, we're gonna need y'all help to kick that thing off right, man, because we trying to get that thing to 100,000 and above. We trying to get that back, and with y'all help, we can get it. So keep stay in the circle, stay on the channel, because we're trying to grow. And like I said, man, we got some big things brewing for this NFL season.
Very cool, Smitty. I'm gonna chime in on something you forgot about. Make sure tomorrow night at 7 p.m. you go to YouTube, NFC South Roundtable. I've had the honor and the privilege of filling in for Smitty this past couple of weeks, man. But Smitty, you will be there tomorrow. You know.
Oh yeah.
You'll be there tomorrow, right?
Oh yeah.
Cool, man. It's an upstart channel, Roundtable Sports, man. NFC South edition. They have it through all the, for all the divisions, man. We're trying to crank up in the NFC South. Like I mentioned, man, I had the privilege and honor to go on and fill in for Smitty these past couple of weeks. Smitty will go on from here on out, but I appreciate that, Smitty. But as far as, go ahead, man.
I need y'all help. If I'm gonna get on the
Oh, yeah.
man, I need y'all to come
They
through.
showed up for me. Show up for for Smitty, man, for sure, man. Because
Yes,
it's
Need y'all to come through.
some good talk, man.
Oh yeah,
For
you
sure,
know I'm gonna
brothers.
be there, front and center, talking
Yep.
noise to the rest of the NFC South. I'm like,
Hell
y'all
yeah,
boy
man.
ready to lose with it here? Nah, I'm just messing. I'm just messing.
Damn.
I'm leaving y'all.
Hey, yo, that bullshit.
Man, he is, man. He is, man. But with that, man,
Yeah.
of course, your boy brother, your host, 95 North Falcons Talk Show on YouTube. Please go and check me out there. You can check me out on Twitter under RI Falcons, and you can check me out on Bleacher Report, man. I've been grinding on Bleacher Report, man, working like a mug, but I enjoy it because I get to interact with the folks, man. Smitty, what's up?
One more thing, I got to say this. And
Go ahead,
I mess with Joe all the time to cut the food. But if y'all want any Falcons accessories, t-shirts, jackets,
Right here.
anything, she can make it. So please go
She
to
sure
Blink and
can.
Stitch,
Wine glasses,
her little self
whatever.
23, and her little self 23 on Twitter. Inbox her if you want to get some t-shirts, jackets, accessories made with Falcons logos. She can do it.
Mhm.
And trust me, she do it
100%.
for a good price. So y'all please show her some love.
Absolutely, man. Until then, thank you for this pop-up show, Smitty, panel, everybody, man. We'll catch you on the flip side, man. Peace.